Well, welcome back into my shop. I'm Earl. This is Earl's Small Segment Shop. What I wanted to do today is what I said I wanted to do before, to make a small bowl from Bloodwood, but I want to put some African Blackwood trim in it. Now Bloodwood, I got enough Bloodwood. African Blackwood, oh, I wish I was rich enough to have enough African Blackwood to do what I wanted, but I don't. But a long time ago, I bought a whole bunch of African Blackwood scraps. Just small pieces, all kinds of small pieces. I bought a whole bunch of them. And what I'm going to do is cut these scraps into pieces a little bit over 1/4 inch thick. Now I'm going to cut individual segments on. I'm going to glue them on like I do open segments, one at a time, and go around the circle. Only there won't be open segments, there'll be closed segments, they'll be together. Sometimes I have to adjust the angle a little bit to get them right, but I'll put them around. So I'm going to make the turning with 16 segments per ring. We'll make a 6-inch bottom. I got a piece of Bloodwood, it's just a shade over 6 inches square. I'm going to use it for the bottom. After I put the bottom on, then I'm going to put the African Blackwood. And what I want to do is make the bottom straight, the Bloodwood and 1/4 inch African Blackwood. Then I want to come out and up. Of course, not that big. I got it drawn out here what I want, so it's the first ring where the curve is going to have to be a pretty wide ring. You're going to have to use 1.5 inch segments, 1.5 inch across. But after that I can use small segments, because after that sides are going to come up straight. So first thing I'm going to do, put this in a cold jaws. I'm going to mark it for a mortise for my chuck. I'm going to mark it for a ring to put in a bandsaw and cut it mostly round. You say, why do I use a mortise instead of a tenon? Everybody uses a tenon. Well, if you got a solid chunk of wood and you're turning it, it's logical to use a tenon on about. But the segments, solid bottom, I can use a mortise on it. And when I finish the turning, it's real easy to finish the bottom, unlike a tenon. And this is good hard wood. It won't break with a mortise, I guarantee you that. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is find the center of this. Right there. Now I'm going to mark it for the chuck. Doggone it. Mark it there for the chuck. Then I'm going to mark right around the edge of it. So now I got it marked for a mortise. I got it marked to make a groove around the edge so the bandsaw can follow it. Let's do it. I got a mortise in it. I got a ring around the edge. Boy, did I get it close to the edge, too. So I'm going to take it to the bandsaw. I'm going to follow this ring around the edge with a bandsaw and get it mostly round. Then I'm going to put it on the chuck. After I put it on the chuck, I'll dish the center out, make a flat edge around the edge, make it flat around the edge, oh, maybe 3/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch, so I can do the first row of segments on. So right now it's off to the bandsaw. I'm going to dish it and flatten it, but it's got a bad spot here, so I'm going to have to turn it quite a bit to get that bad spot out. I'm going to flatten it around the edge. And I'll dish it first, I think, and then flatten it around the edge. It's going to take quite a bit of turning. Bloodwood is hard. I got to sharpen it again. Now I got to make sure the flat in this area. I'm going to chalk it. I'm going to sand it with a sanding board. I got to turn on the dust collector. Okay, the chalk's gone. Ready to put on the first row of segments, which is going to be African Blackwood. The base is ready. It's cupped out a little bit. Got a flat ring around the edge. So I cut 15 pieces of African Blackwood. All are the same thickness, at least I think they are. But they're not all the same width. They're all cut to the same length. All cut to the same length. But they're not all the same width. That's because I cut them from those scrap pieces. I got a whole bunch of them. I'm not rich enough to afford a pallet of African Blackwood. I'm not even rich enough to afford a good stick of African Blackwood. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to glue one on, right on the edge. I'm going to let it dry. Then I'm going to put the next one up against it. And after that I'll glue them all around. Just let the first one dry enough so when I push against it, it won't move. After that it'll be okay. And I'll put them all on, one against the other. And sometimes I'll have to adjust the angle on them. I know it's not a perfect ring, but they're thin enough so you won't see the joints. And it's African Blackwood, you'll never see the joints anyway with African Blackwood. And I've cut 15 because the last one has always got to be hand fitted, always. I've done this before. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the first one on, and after I let it dry a while, then I'll glue the rest of them on. Now all these segments have only got one smooth sanded side, so I got to be careful which way I put them on. Put a light layer of glue on this. It's plenty big enough. Actually, it's too big, really, but that's okay. Where's my... Gotta have a paper towel. This one got blood on it. Now, put it right where it just covers up the edge. Press it down for a few seconds. This is quick and thick, so it don't take long. Now I'm going to let that one dry before I put the rest on. Once it gets dry, and push the rest up against it all the way around. No problem. Now I can start gluing more on. Make sure I get the smooth sanded side. Put a little glue on it. Put a little bit of glue on the joint that's going to go up against the first piece. Put it right up against the first piece. Sometime now I'm going to have to adjust the angle on them. This one here is a little bit high on one side. Let's do one more piece. This is the side that's sanded. See how that fits okay. We'll put a little glue on that. And glue on, oops, wrong joint. Little glue on the joint. Now put it up there, nice and tight. I'm going to go ahead and just glue some more on. Okay, they were starting to get a little bit angled wrong, so I had to adjust the angle on this one a little bit, just a little bit, put a little bit more angle on it. So now it's going to fit just right here. And pretty soon I'll probably have to adjust the angle on another one. We'll see. I'm going to put this one on now that I got the angle adjusted. Sometimes you got to put more angle or less angle on them when they start to climb out or climb down in. This one just right. Just right. Go ahead and put some more on. I've got 15 pieces on. Little space left. So the last piece, I'm going to have to hand cut it, hand fit it in there. Hopefully it's the same angle as the rest, but it might not be. So I'm going to cut a piece and fit it. Sometimes it takes 3 or 4 tries, but I'll get one to fit in there. Okay, I made a piece that will just fit in there, just right. So I'm going to go ahead, put glue on it. Put glue on both sides. Put glue on the back. Glue all over it. We'll put it in tight. Good and tight. Now I'm going to let the glue set for a while. Then I'll turn the face flat and sand it. Now I'm going to turn these flat. Then I'm going to sand them flat. Not going to turn the edges inside or out yet. Going to wait till I got another ring over them before I do that. This one right here. I could have cut that one a little thicker, but I didn't. So, it's the one I got to cut down to. That's it. Now to sand it. got it. Got 16 segments for the first ring, well after the trim ring. It's the ring that goes way out. So I had to make a segments 1.5 inches wide. Had to rip 1.5 inches off the board. It's pretty thick too because I didn't thin it down. I just left it like it was. I got 16 cut. I had to adjust the angle on a couple to get it to fit. But they're tight now. So I'm going to go ahead and glue them up. Well, it's been over 15 minutes. I glued the ring up. I'm going to flatten one side. Might flatten both, but I'm going to flatten one anyway. Then I'm going to put it in the coal jaws, mount it in the tailstock and bring it up. Glue it on. Putting it in the coal jar and the tailstock automatically line it up. I only have to wait 15 minutes before I work on it, turn it, sound it flat, whatever I'm going to do. So yeah, first thing I'm going to do is flatten at least one side. Yeah, I'm going to put glue on it now. Yes, if I can get any glue out. Need it on the inside of the ring where it's going to be glued. There's plenty of glue. Put it in the tailstock. Bring it up. Spin it around. Get the glue spread. Get the glue spread good. Get it spread good. Tighten it down a bit. Tighten her down. Let her sit for a while. At least 15 minutes. I'm going to start turning the inside of this one a little bit. Second ring's glued up. I'm just going to flatten it, put it in the coal jaws and glue it on the same way I did the first one. Only thing is I got to be certain I get it brick laid. In other words, this joint falls right between the joints on the first ring, so joints don't line up. So I'm going to go ahead, flatten it, and glue it on. Then I'll be looking to make another ring of African Blackwood. Second ring's on right now. I got to turn it, flatten it, then I got to make some more pieces of African Blackwood, a little over 1/4 inch thick, flat on one side. This time cut for an 8-inch ring. In the meantime, I'm multitasking. I'm working on this Karnoff plane. I'm trying to make one with a movable throat on it. So I've got it glued up, but I got that on a separate video, so I'll be multitasking for a while. So I'm going to go ahead, just turn that and flatten it and get it ready for the African Blackwood. 2 more pieces of African Blackwood, all cut from scraps. All cut the same length, all cut the same angle, all about the same width. But this size they're different because they're cut from scrap. But they'll work. So I'm going to do like before. Glue one on, let it dry for a while, and then glue them on one at a time all the way around. And then the very last one, again, I'm going to have to make it to fit in. So I'm ready, got that ready. I'm going to glue on the African Blackwood scraps on it. The second African Blackwood ring's on. Looks kind of wild, but it'll work. So now I'm going to put the last ring on. I made another Bloodwood ring, not quite as high. It's going to be a half-inch high ring, maybe even less when I get done. That's what I want on the top. Got it cut, got it sanded. All the joints are tight. I'm going to glue this up and let it set for at least 15 minutes. I'll flatten it and put it in the cold jaws and glue it on. Then after a while, at least 15 minutes, be able to finish turning it. The last ring's glued on. I've got to finish turning the inside, then I'll turn the outside. And today I think I'm going to use a carbide on a round shaft on the inside. On the outside I think I'll probably use a carbide on a square shaft. Now I could use my Olin tool, and I might use a combination of both of them. I don't know, but I'm going to use carbides today for most of it anyway. So first thing I'm going to do is finish turning the inside, and then I'm going to turn the outside. Turn the inside, I might be able to get a camera shot, but I ain't going to be able to get one for the outside, I know. Finish up this and turning on the inside. I'm going to use the round carbide on the round shaft. And I think I'm getting pretty good pictures with this $30 camera I got. I'm going to sand it. Now actually I've already got the inside sanded. I'm going to sand the outside. And I'm going to do it very easy, very quick. Now I'm going to take it from 80 grit all the way up to glass real quick by doing it like it's supposed to be sanded. Now, I don't need to hit it with the 80 grit, but I'm going to anyway. This is 80 grit, P80. I know some people say, well, he don't really sand it like that. He's already got it sanded to 320, yada, yada, yada. No, I'm going to hit it with 80 grit. Now it's Bloodwood and it's African Blackwood. It's going to load up the sandpaper quick. After I hit the 80 grit, I'll show you that it's loaded up. Then I'm going to go through all the rest of the grits real quick. Couple of passes. After that, I'm going to use the Scotch-Brite pads. Now these are not the Scotch-Brite pads that you buy at the dollar store. These are ones that you buy at the woodworking stores. So it's just going to take a very few minutes, bring that thing up from 80 grit to glass. Like I said, It don't really need 80, but I'm going to hit it with the 80 grit anyway. Then I'll go through all the rest of the grits real quick in live time. You know, I ain't trying to fool anybody or anything else. I'm going to actually do it. 80 grit. Do a little shaking with it. The 80 grit. Sandpaper up, that's for sure. It's like a piece of glass right now. Just as smooth and shiny, ready to put some finish on it. That took very little time to sand it, get it all the way up to glass finish. Very easy, even with the hardest woods. So now, I'm going to put some friction polish on this one. So I'm going to go ahead. It's my own friction polish. I know everybody mixes it 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3, but I vary that mixture just a little bit. And that's the thing. If you want to make it yourself, you can change the ingredients, vary them a little bit, and find out exactly what works best for you. So I'm going to go ahead and put my friction polish on it right now. I got it turned, sanded. Sanding is really, really easy. I love sanding. I know most people don't agree with me, but if you watch, you'll see how easy it is. Got finish put on it, but now I got to do the bottom. So I'm going to reverse it, put it in the coal jaws, bring the center up from the tailstock, and turn the bottom. Thing's pretty heavy. Be surprised how heavy it is. It's Bloodwood, so it is heavy. But I'm going to put it in the coal jaws. I don't know which ones yet. It's 8 inches, and that's just the size that goes from one coal jaws to the other. Hard to actually find a fit for 8 inch. But I'm going to do it. Well, here it is finished. Relatively easy. A different shape than what I normally make. Got a nice shine on it. Wasn't hard to do. And I did a little demo in there on sanding. Now, sanding one of my favorite subjects. And I've seen so many people in the club that say, well, I make my turning, I turn so I can start sanding at 220. If you look at the turnings, it's obvious they need to start at 80 or 100. And they'll take a piece of 220 sandpaper and wear its ass out, trying to smooth the turning out. And I don't know, 220 seems to be the magic number. Everybody says, oh, I turn so I can start sanding at 220. If you need to start sanding at 80, start sanding at 80. Don't fool yourself. And then just a quick pass with each one, and you're done. It's so easy. You don't need power tools. All you need is the power of the lathe. It's very, very, very easy. As you can see how fast I did it, all the way up through. And the higher grit sandpapers are expensive, but you can buy the Scotch-Brite pads that do the same thing. So, you know. Now me, I'm lucky. I live in North Carolina and I can get all the sandpaper I need. It's good quality. This stuff here is not paper. It's actually sand cloth. What it is, it's cut-offs from a belt manufacturer, a big belt manufacturer in Germany. They make all kinds of belts. And of course, when you make belts, you get a lot of waste. You got to cut the belts to size, to length, and you get a lot of waste. Well, they put it in bins, and the stores here in North Carolina, the Klingspor stores, you buy it by the pound. I got sandpaper all over the shop. Got sandpaper up here, got sandpaper down there, got sandpaper up here. I've got sandpaper everywhere. Anyway, thing I really wanted to show is how I put on the African Blackwood. It's just so expensive, I can't afford big pieces of it. Sure wish I could, but if I had the money to afford a pallet of African Blackwood, I wouldn't be turning wood. I'd be sitting in some place where it's nice, warm, and sunny, playing with sports cars and blondes. So, I appreciate you watching, and please subscribe. And I got my cheat sheets. Cheat sheets cover all the sizes that the index wheel can be used with. All the way, I think I start with 12 and go all the way up to 96 segments per ring. Of course, I don't cover every one, just the ones that can be used with the index wheel. Both open and closed segments. And If you want one of my cheat sheets, all you have to do is email me and ask for one. Do not leave an email address in the comments. Just email me. I'll leave my email address up here. And like I said, please subscribe and please come back and see my next video. Thank you.